Coming at you from a couple of stools in the low class studios. This is a feminist and a comedian walk into a bar. Our first episode of 2018.
What?
Happy New Year,
Happy New
Justin.
Year, audience.
Door while you're pooping.
Trap yourself in a. If I had like a giant.
just
No, even if I had a
gross.
giant.
Little
Well, I
crack.
just tell you, I'm just like, please don't look at me while I'm pooping. But I like the airflow, regardless of temp. I just like it open. I don't like to feel like I'm pooping in a little
That's
cloth.
my New Year's resolution is stop watching you poop.
Well, stop. I tell you not to.
I'm just kidding. Hi guys, I'm Jackie. I'm a feminist.
Great open.
And I'm sipping
We can
on
never take a holiday break again. You get too rusty.
Everyone's interested in poop. So for my drink today, I'm sipping on. Okay, so my New Year's resolution was to make more mocktails.
Wasn't that like your last? Year's
Always, it's like every year is to do
I
more
feel
of
like
this.
you've been doing good enough.
Yeah, but like, I don't know.
Is it because Tony's is running out of sodas?
Well, see, that's like finding cool new drinks. I
Mm.
want to start making mocktails, like,
Ooh, more
without feeling
dishes
like
to
such
do.
a fucking nerd. Well, that's the thing is that's why I haven't been making them is because a lot of the recipes will be for like they're just basically
It's like for a
cocktails
whole pitcher.
without the liquor. So then you're like, well, fuck, now I have all this extra stuff. Like, remember I made one mocktail, it was a disaster, and then like we had
Lavender lemonade?
champagne, yeah, like sitting in our fridge for 3 months. So this was a one-person mocktail, which is like the saddest,
Ah,
saddest cookbook.
that is
recipe.
sadder than like meals for one. Those
Yeah, or like I
cookbooks.
know, because like that's obviously
Mocktails
like
for one.
you're a widow. This is mocktails for one.
You're sober and lonely.
But it's a vanilla blackberry
Mm.
drink, and I'm not gonna call it a mocktail. Have some self-respect.
Just called a mocktail.
I thought.
Dinner, right?
I mean, fuck off. Anyone who is near a grocery store can get it. How is that? That's first world privilege. I'm not like fucking privileged because I make a muddled drink.
That's what I meant. I meant first world. What did you think? White?
Or just like rich. We're not rich. Anyone could go and get a blackberry.
I think it's more just time. I think it's even. I was honestly. First of all, I was making a joke. Calm down, America.
Hashtag I'm not privileged.
Yeah, in this scenario, Jackie's playing the role of America. It sounded like a joke, but I'd rather be mad. So I was more just saying kind of like just like time of being alive privilege.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? Like, I like my berries in the winter when they're not supposed to grow. But
Well,
we've grown them with science.
because I love the flavor of a berry, but I don't know. I feel like some raspberries are too summer. It looks like a Christmas drink, right? Like it's dark purple. I muddled the blackberries with a splash of honey, splash of vanilla, and some club soda. Oh, and lemon juice, half a lemon.
You muddled it before the club
muddled
soda,
it.
right, though?
I put a little club soda in, but yes. So basically what you do, you muddle all that together, I strained it through some coffee filters, and then pour it over ice, and then fill it up with club soda until the thing's full.
So you don't leave like the muddled stuff in there?
Correct. Because then you're like chewing on shit. It's just like blackberry seeds and stuff. But it's really good. I put a little too much vanilla in it, so I just added some extra lemon juice, and it's good. I put some mint as garnish.
And a lemon
It's
garnish?
really good.
That lemon looks like really old.
It is. That's why I took photos with the other lemon, and then
You
but
got
I
a
didn't.
show
But I
lemon?
didn't cut it up. Yeah, it's my show lemon, and then I actually just use this one because I, again, not privileged, need to eat all my resources.
All your lemons. Don't get scurvy.
But it's really good. I like it. I feel like I'm drinking a cocktail. I don't know. Drinking used to be so fun for me, and it feels like a deprivation when I can't drink. Like, okay, guess I'll
But
have
you
my
never
LaCroix.
drank cocktails, though.
I
That's
know,
what's kind of
but-
funny.
But it doesn't matter. Like, still mentally, I'm like, this is so much fun. We're gonna drink. Like now, I don't know. Like this is a way for drinking to feel fun for me. So sad. But whatever. No shame. Hashtag 2018.
Yeah.
What are you sipping on?
I finally got my holiday drink that I've been promising you guys. Remember, that was my New Year's resolution to have it on this
You had like a
episode.
resolution for
Whiskey on the rocks. But if I have to do any sort of cocktail, I do whiskey ginger. So during the holidays,
That's
Canada
good.
Dry, which is actually a couple different soda companies do a take on this, but Canada Dry is just my favorite ginger ale, anyways. So uh, Canada Dry in the winter does a cranberry ginger ale for the Christmas time holidays. So a lot of times I'll buy some so I can do cranberry ginger and whiskey.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, because it's like I
That's a good
love
holiday drink.
cranberry. Like I just love that flavor,
Yeah.
and then ginger ale and whiskey go so good together. So it's like
Yeah.
it's really like the perfect little threesome, you know.
Yeah,
And it's
and the
great that it's.
cranberries preventing UTIs in your threesome. Look at you
I
just
don't think it. Well, I
winning.
don't think it's like real.
Oh, it's not real
I don't.
cranberry. It's
I mean,
flavored. Oh,
I
it's
don't
like the
know.
fake
I
boobs
don't
of
think I. I
cranberry.
don't think enough to clean. For a second. I'm gonna sip it. It's so good. It's just really fucking good.
I think cranberry ginger ale is so good. I've been like, I saw it in the fridge and I've been asking you for like a week. Can I open it? Can I open it?
No,
Can I
because I
open
was like, but no, because then it'll be flat by the time like the
I know,
episode
but
comes.
I'm really excited that after
It's
this
good
I
because
can
it's
go.
not too cranberry. It's just like
Mm,
and like I love cranberry as a mixer. Like if I have to, I just don't really like vodka. So if I'm drinking vodka, I'll do like a vodka soda just because like if I'm drinking vodka, it's usually for calories slash to not have a hangover. So I don't want to mix sugar in it or I lose all those benefits. But if like someone's just like but like honestly, like if I was just going straight, just what would be your favorite thing to sip on if you had to have a vodka cocktail? It would be vodka cranberry because like I just think like the
the
bitterness of
bitters go so
cranberry
well
works
together.
good with
Mhm.
booze. You know, like
Yeah.
it really just mixes with the bitterness of booze. I just feel like sweet drinks, like if you get like a screwdriver, like vodka orange juice, it's like that sweetness or the or even the tartness, whatever it is. It's like it's trying to mask the bitter of the booze, and it just never does. So you just have this harsh contradiction. I don't know. I just feel like the bitterness of cranberry. It's just kind of like it's like it like takes the bitterness of booze and like gives it like a like a nice buddy. That's like, hey, I'm also bitter, just like this guy, but like I'm also like I
It's
don't know.
like
It's
our
like
relationship.
yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so I mean,
Are you bitter? I'm bitter.
I wouldn't do a cranberry whiskey,
Mhm.
but a cranberry ginger whiskey because it's mostly I would say that the ginger cranberry ginger ale is probably about taste bud wise like 75% ginger ale, 25% cranberry. So it's still got enough ginger in it to really like do with the whiskey what it always does, and then you just get a little cranberry finish. It's tight. It's
That's
super
cool.
tight. It's good. So that's my holiday
It's
sipping
good.
up, and it was just so funny because basically, yeah, I didn't want to buy a 2 liter because like I don't even though you don't drink anymore and like you'll drink sodas as a replacement. Like you don't really drink pop.
Yeah.
I don't really drink pop, so I was like, I don't want to buy a 2 liter because that's the
Yeah.
problem with a 2 liter. You could buy a 2 liter, you open it, and then it's like you got to slam it the next 3 days, or it's flat, and then you just like
I feel
wasted
gross.
it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to drink pop 3 days in a row, but I also don't want to waste it. So I was like hoping I could find like some bottle. Like I was hoping to find just like a 20 ounce bottle at a gas station. Worst case, I would have got cans, but I couldn't even find cans. Because then at least you can space it out, you know. Oh, I'll have a can today, and then maybe in a couple of weeks, you're like, oh, I'm gonna have a can with my burr.
Yeah.
So, or you can continue to make drinks. But I was just like I brought up on the last podcast of 2017. I was like, I was gonna buy it because I didn't say exactly what I was buying. I was trying to
You're
tease
teasing
it.
it.
I was basically
For
saying
those
like
of you here for the crayon ginger ale reveal, thank you.
yeah, but basically I was saying like I don't care how I have to get it. I'll get it because I just want to have it now because I know they're gonna stop selling it soon. Like I think they just stopped selling it.
Yeah.
They probably stop it in January and then like whenever the stock runs out. So you might still be able to find it if they're still stocked. But I could tell they're. I got that 2 liter bottle of cran ginger ale for like all right, and but like I said, it wasn't even the price. Because when I was originally going to buy the 2 liter, and then like this was like early in December, I saw a 2 liter, and I was like, nah, that's a good drink. But wait, you'll be able to find a 20 ounce at a gas station. I never fucking could. But it wasn't even the price. It was only like $1.10 or something. Then it was more just like that. I didn't want to waste. I don't like wasting.
Dude, there's so much stuff that
I
you
don't like
can't
wasting.
buy with just two people or just yourself.
Yeah.
Everything's built for a fucking family.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to waste it. So I had it in my cart early December and I put it back. So I'm like, I'll be able to find like a 20 ounce at a gas station because I have before.
Yeah.
And I could not find one. And then finally I was just like, all right, I'm just going to have to
Let's do
fucking
this.
just gonna waste it like a big fat American. But anyways, it's a tight ass cocktail.
Nice.
So you can
Well,
probably still find it at the stores. Give it a try. It's really good. I got Crown Royal is my whiskey. So
whiskey. If you guys want some more drink recipes, you can check out all of our past episodes. This is episode 54, so you have 53 episodes to catch up on of cool drink ideas and some lame ones also.
do one a
but-
week and make catching up from the archives your 2018 resolution.
You can find those at FemComPod.com. And thank you, shout out to all of our Patreon supporters for keeping us going in 2018.
Woo!
If you guys want to sign up, you can go to patreon.com/LO class no dash.
Yeah.
And you can sign up at any level, $1 to $20, and you can get everything from bonus material. We just recorded an episode.
Everyone gets any level.
I know.
Gets
I'm
the
just saying.
bonus
I'm
material.
doing the range.
I wasn't correcting you. I
That's
was
the
like
base
hype,
bare
I
minimum.
was hype mamming you.
And I Love You Daddy by Louis C.K. We just reviewed it
That was
on
our
our
latest bonus
episode. It's
episode.
pretty good.
It was a super good bonus.
Totally changed. Watching the movie totally changed my opinion of Louis C.K. compared to the normal FemComPod episode we did where we talked about it.
Because we had not seen the movie yet.
Right.
So
And
we got 2 bonus episodes already up and
Mhm.
more coming out this year. So you can get that at any level. It's just like the levels you go up, you can get some merch and shit. Some physical goods and some other
some handmade art.
incentives. But at every level, you do the buck level, you
Mhm.
get all the bonus content.
Yep.
And we'll have a good amount coming up. And like we always say, the more people that sign up,
The more bonus episodes we'll put out.
yeah.
Yep. So sign up. All
sign
right.
up and tell a friend.
Let's get into it. Let's start with
Cool.
topic 1. So this is mine. I'm going to start.
Did you do lowclass.com? We still got to plug the Ridge.
Yeah,
Do
lo-class.com,
There you
bitches.
go.
Get
now
all
get
of our
into topic
content.
1.
So I'm going to start with.
Got to plug the OG.
Yeah.
Don't do
I'm
not
gonna,
give me that look.
I'm going to read a few.
I love it because you gave me an eye roll on the bonus
didn't even give you
episode,
an
which
eye
we do
roll.
not do video on, and now we're doing video.
You
and
know,
people can
I
tell all
used to,
the
my mom
passive
used to yell
aggressive
at me
stuff.
because she would say that I was rolling my eyes, and I
One
go like,
thing-
watch. I'll do it into the camera.
Yes, that's an eye roll.
I eye roll my eye up, but
it's either. It's,
I would think of an
hold
eye
on,
roll.
hold on. I'm gonna focus it. Go to the camera.
Okay.
I'm gonna focus it on you. All right, do it.
I think of an eye roll as this. Watch. Where I'm like rolling
Well, dude,
my
yeah,
eyes
everyone
around in
knows
my
what an eye
head.
roll is, but I'm just saying, like, you're still doing a look that shows the same kind of fucking messaging as
Right.
an eye roll.
Right.
Either way, I'm just glad that the people, our viewers, can see the shit you pull, where you're just
Why is
like,
it
oh, it's
shit?
an audio medium, so I'll just give him shit with my looks.
I don't think that's what I'm trying
I'm
to
just
do.
saying,
I
just
just
like
would
I'd
roll
rather-
my eyes at you
It's
naturally
an audio
anyway.
medium, so have the balls to just say, fuck you, cunt, shut up. Just say that to me.
Fuck you, cunt. Shut up. Let me run it how I want to run. I always do that. I always tell you to shut up and that
Not
stop
always.
mansplaining my hosting.
75% of the time, you'll have the balls to do
you
that, but
always tell me how to fix my hosting.
You'll
Listen,
still-
this
you'll-
is my time.
I'm not fixing your hosting. I'm just trying to get people the info, bro. I think that's it, though. Also, I will say that is literally the one part of your mom's child rearing that I do agree with. You roll your eyes too much.
Well, no, I
found
like.
one piece of cohesion.
I didn't know that's what she meant, so I kept doing it, and then like would get a little smack, and I'd be like, "What am I doing?" And I was like, "Oh, you mean like lifting my eyes up? Okay."
You mean the
wasn't trying-
shitty thing
I, like,
I'm
wasn't
doing that
trying
I
to be
know
an
is
asshole,
shitty, but I'm trying
But I
to
wasn't.
act
I was
ignorant.
being an asshole in the rolling of my eyes, but like didn't know I was continuing to be an asshole by like doing the things she kept asking me not to do. Anyway, okay.
Topic 1.
So topic 1, I'm gonna read the first 3 paragraphs of this story. So late last year, the novelist Kira Drake announced that her publisher was giving away copies of her upcoming young adult novel, The Continent. Fantasy set in a world where 2 nations had been at war for centuries. It's raining books, she wrote. Her enthusiasm was quickly punctured. Online reviews poured in and they were brutal. Readers pounced on what they saw as racially charged language in the descriptions of the warring tribes and blasted it as quote-unquote racist trash, quote retrograde, and quote offensive. Mrs. Drake and her publisher, Harlequin Teen, apologized and delayed the book's publication. In the years since, the continent has changed drastically. Harlequin hired 2 sensitivity readers who vetted the narrative for harmful stereotypes and suggested changes. Miss Drake spent 6 months rewriting the book, discarding descriptions like her characterization of one tribe as having reddish-brown skin and painted faces. The next version is due out in March. So My topic, basically, this is becoming more of a trend in the book publishing industry, where they are hiring sensitivity readers that's what they're called, to vet books to provide feedback on, issues of race, gender, religion, sexuality, illness, disability, all the works. So fact checkers and copy editors have always been part of the publishing industry, right? But sensitivity readers are more focused on quality control of, like, basically their name should be ass coverers, because they're there to spotlight anything that could be an embarrassing PR.
Did you say ass coverers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an ass cover reader. Because I mean, let's be honest, I don't think the publishing industry is trying to be sensitive. They're trying to sell more
Yeah.
books, and to sell that, they need to not have an embarrassing
I mean, the
racist
article
thing.
pretty much says that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like they didn't start this practice because they're like, well, we should be more culturally sensitive. They started this practice because they released books that Twitter got mad at and it hurt the sales.
The cultural, yeah, like
But that's
it's
it. That's the only
effective.
reason.
So there are two sides of this debate.
It's not really a sensitivity reader. It's like a PR department. Is really what it is.
Yeah. So there are two sides of this debate. The first is that sensitivity readers help promote diversity, right? They're stopping cultural appropriation and expanding representation. Advocates say that sensitivity readers aren't preventing authors from tackling tough subjects or writing cross culturally, but helping to guard against misrepresentation. Okay. On the other side, some argue that the reliance on sensitivity readers amounts to censorship. If sensitivity readers are given the freedom to hijack authors' visions, we're going to lose some beloved artworks that we could have otherwise enjoyed. So those are sort of the two sides. I think it's best shown through examples, right? Like I think copy editing and fact checking is super important, and it's something that like I said, has been there in the industry for a long time. Like journalists, we check everything of like because you want to get the world right that you're creating for this fictitious dream that you're trying to put the reader in, right? So like you're not gonna, if I'm writing about, for example, the I don't know 1920s, and I say he pulled out his vape pen. That's an extreme example, but like you're gonna be like, what the? There's not vape pens in the 1920s. You give up on the book, right?
So that's a fact checker, though.
Yes, that's a fact checker. So other examples, Scholastic pulled a picture book called A Birthday Cake for George Washington, because the criticism was that it soft-pedaled slavery by leaving out the grimmer details of the life of an enslaved baker who eventually escaped. Candlewick Press postponed a young adult book because some readers complained it reinforced negative stereotypes about inner-city youth. The Black Witch was the name of a book, an adult fantasy novel about a teenage girl who's raised in a xenophobic society that prizes magical ability. It was panned as racist, sexist, homophobic, and reviewed. Well, I guess I don't know why they have that as an example, because there's nothing about sensitivity readers.
They didn't really get into.
There was another one that
they said it was racist. I don't know. Maybe like the Bad Witch was the Black Witch or something.
Yeah, this is a one like before this book, American Heart, a dystopian novel, was even released. 9 months before its release, critics faulted what they viewed as a white savior narrative. So like they pulled the book.
That one was supposed to be like anti-Muslim, right? I think so.
Yeah, so that was, I think that's the same. Yeah, so American Heart was supposed to be about, it's coming out this month, but it's narrated by a teenage girl who overcomes prejudice against Muslims, right? Okay, so wait, Muslims are rounded up and sent to detainment camps. It's narrated by a teenage girl who gradually overcomes her prejudice against Muslims and tries to help a Muslim fugitive, an Iranian immigrant, escape to Canada. The author felt she had to had to write this book after the presidential race was so anti-Muslim. Blah, blah, blah. People slammed her. She had to. Critics of the book, who saw the story as offensive and dehumanizing to Muslims, bombarded Kirkus with complaints. Oh, this is the fucking example where Kirkus reviews, which is like, the pinnacle of reviewing books, right? They gave it a glowing starred review, called it suspenseful, thought-provoking, and touching. But people were so mad about it and like reacted on Twitter about how this was such a bad book. Who probably didn't fucking read it if it doesn't come out till January? I'm sure they haven't even read it yet. Kirkus took down the review and replaced it with a contrite statement from its editor-in-chief, who noted that the review, which was written by a Muslim woman, was being evaluated. When a revised version of the review was posted, it was more critical and had been stripped of its star. Fuck this. This is so fucked up.
But how can you say, like, again, just to give a plug, because it's like, go ahead and get on that Patreon. But like, we talk about this in the Louis C.K. bonus episode, where you can see a distinct slope in reviews, like in what the reviews say about "I Love You, Daddy" pre-jerk and post-jerk, and
Yeah,
again,
but I
but
think
again, not related to like, oh, I look at this in a different light, but related to literally like, no, it's a bad movie. That's literally what they're doing. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, you thought it was a bad book. We also thought it was a bad book.
I mean, I guess more my problem is with the whole idea of a sensitivity. If you, by the very nature of a job, if you're hiring someone to, hey, look for problems in this book, you're going to find a problem in this book. So something's going to be censored regardless. And it's not like these are, like they had a really good example of how the Babysitters Club, those books were, they would have those sort of like vetted and read by psychologists or early education specialists who were like, okay, we're touching on themes of anorexia and I don't know, molestation, whatever was in those books. Like, are we handling this properly where we're not going to fuck up a generation of kids? There's a big difference between that and then like Barbara from Detroit who feels like she has a fucking feeling about this. You
You mean
know,
the difference being that it's like
between
trained professionals
trained
and not just someone
professionals
that says
and
they're an expert?
yeah, not just that says they're an expert, but like you're feeling. I mean, I know I even think about, okay, I love you, Daddy. Like I was like, if they had a I could have been quote unquote a sensitivity reader and watched that and been like, dude, we're sick of seeing shows or like the girl is just basically naked, and that's all we see of the first interactions of this character for the first 10 minutes. Like that's weird. It's gross. Take it out. Like that. That's just my opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between opinion and like psychological
But it's also like, do you see the weird,
training. I don't know.
the weird grossness of that review thing is just the fact that the American public now thinks that everything must be catered to them.
Yeah,
And that's my point is
there's
like,
a narcissism.
not
involved
only
in
is
it.
this woman who reviewed it a Muslim, and I'm sure a lot of the people complaining about this book aren't, but she's also clearly, if she, I mean, I don't know anything about fucking books, but you say this is like the biggest, this is like the Rotten Tomatoes of books, yes? This is like
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
so there,
It's very well respected.
so again, for her to get a job there, she must be like of high level analytical book sense, yes? And so a Muslim with that pedigree said, yes, good book. It's thrilling or whatever. Star, here you go.
Yeah.
And then people, just the general public, who again is probably overwhelmingly not Muslim, who's overwhelmingly probably dumb, went like, this bad. And then this giant thing was like, this giant thing that has pedigree, that has reviewers with pedigree, that chooses reviewers clearly based off experience with the material on a personal level, goes like, no, general public, you were right. And they're doing that because, again, like, people don't any longer want to go to a review site and be like, they don't want to read a book and then compare it to high level analytics. They don't want to use those analytics to decide what book they might buy, which I think is what reviewing should be used for. They want to go there and see review sites confirm what they think they're supposed to think about a thing.
Yeah.
You know? And
yeah.
it's like, that's not what it is.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying it has to be different, but it's just, it is what it is. It's high level reviewing by high level reviewers. And so that's the check on quality of the review, not on if it agrees with the general sentiment of the public. And that's my point, is like, how is that not how is that not offensive to, like, to me, you have a Muslim woman who has worked hard her whole life to become a reviewer, and then you have to go to her and be like, hey, we think your review is flawed. Could you please redo it and or have someone else add to it? And she would be like, why? And they'd be like, oh, because Twitter thinks it's not good. I would be like, suck my fucking burqa dick. It's fucking... I've been working on this shit for years, and you're going to let Twitter say my review isn't good? Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's what's, like, offensive about it. It's like... Because then, like, again, like, it's just that, what, I just don't get I don't get the sense. Like, I don't get, they're using the language of, like, oh, yeah, we did miss something, good call. But it's like, really, that's not true. Like, you didn't miss it. Like, again, like, if you're of that level of a review company with that level of reviewers, you've edited it. You've probably had other people look at the review. You've again made sure this reviewer is of quality, and then you go like, yeah, we've done all our steps as we do as a high, reviewing house, and we think this review is fucking good. We trust it. We put our stamp on it, and then so they literally go back and be like,
backpedaled and removed the
but
star.
what's the excuse? Is
Yeah.
like again they're acting like, oh, we must have, yeah, you're right, we did miss that, oops, like they did like a oopsie, like they literally did a oopsie, like they spelled a word wrong, oh, like, yeah, you did catch that, sorry, our bad. But they didn't. They're literally that's a lie. They literally just went back and went, yeah, make this review what those people think. If I don't care if you agree with it or you think it's true, just make it what they think. Just
know,
the
yeah,
hourishness of businesses and art. It's like,
well, that's why, like, that I just think
ah.
criticism is over, and
I
like
think the
even
American
with my
it's the American
my
public's
own
over.
personal experience of writing criticism and getting this, not being told as much, but being basically it implied that like we don't really do negative reviews. That was not for Kirkus, right? Like I'm not at that level, but the media has sort of brought this on themselves. We've given into advertising, and now that has become the new advertising. It's like if you get a shitty, if a firestorm on Twitter starts because someone misunderstood your headline or your review, you're fucked. It's stupid. I know. I get what you're saying. They need to stand up to it.
Institution.
And the way that a dissent is handled is so scary. Like I just don't.
But again,
just because someone has a different opinion from you, critic or anyone else, does not mean that like you're being attacked.
But why be an institution then? That's my point. This isn't just some lady who has a mommy blog that reviewed this book, right? This is like an institution that's worked for years to be like, we are a pinnacle of reviewmanship. If
Well,
they
yeah,
don't
you
have,
would-
but I'm just saying, if they don't have the fucking balls to go like, no, the review's fine. Like again, like I just feel like institutions or just people, like even just individuals of pedigree, like quality artists, like artists who have been doing it for decades now get taken down by the general public. And I'm not talking about for their deeds outside of art. I'm talking for their actual creative pieces. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like people used to say like, hey, are you part of the general public? And then and then that person would go like, I am part of the general public. And I feel like the institution or the artist of pedigree would go, well, then there's an 80% chance that your opinion doesn't matter, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to go ahead and take the gamble that you're not of the 20% that I should listen to. I'm going to go ahead and take a gamble that I'm better at this than you. I will always be. And your opinion on this should not matter.
It's not even that you're better at them than it, but it's like,
but they are.
I know, Justin, but I don't think that's what matters. What I think matters is that this is your job. I mean, it's sort of the same thing, but
it's like most things. You're like, I agree with you, but not
Jesus
as mean.
Christ, you just say it in a way that's so offensive. Here's what the thing about sensitivity readers, I think fact checking, you just don't call them sensitivity fucking readers. That is where, because here's the thing too, is that what bothers me about this and all these I have like a whole list of examples of books that have done, even good ones. Like here's a good, for Jodi Picoult's novel.
Jodi Pickle.
Pickle. I'm probably saying it wrong. But she hired a sensitivity reader to read a book about a black nurse who treats the baby of white supremacists. She hired people to like contextualize racism from a perspective of an African American. That's like a good example. Well, here's a better one. So a middle grade novel, Ghosts of Green Glass House. The author hired a sensitivity reader who suggested that she changed the language of saying Milo, who's the character, his mother and father are his adoptive parents, just simply call them his parents. Like, though, I think that's fine, whatever. But here's the thing. In all the examples that I've found and seen and tried to read and tried to use to like get a grip on what a sensitivity reader is, it's never for other minorities of a progressive group. And that's what is so alarming about it. And why that word just is not, it's just not professional. Hold on. Like, we are not, I didn't see one for, that Appalachia book came out. And people were like, you're getting Appalachia all wrong. Like, are you offering sensitivity readers for, like, Appalachian or Rust Belt? Like, those characters where you feel, like, I just read a book.
How are you getting it wrong? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
I just read a book called Chalk Man, and it was so fucking good. It was, like, psychological thriller. The character is who's a fucking monster is a Christian preacher. Like, okay? So if we apply this sensitivity reader, are they gonna?
Well, first of all, it's fiction. This is all
I know, but
fiction.
like,
So, like,
do you
again,
get what
that's
I'm
what.
saying though? Where we're
Yes,
not
I mean, I'm
applying
trying to
the
respond to
sign-
what you're saying, but you're not letting me. I'm saying
Because
that.
I was done saying my thing.
Okay, well, you were done with the
I
thing
need
I
a
wanted to respond
sensitivity
to.
listener.
Yeah, and that sounds just as awful as this. sounds like it's like too much of you, and people get sleepy. Um, so I think like it's just who gives a shit? Like that's my point. Is like that's what always makes me mad. Like I've been to Appalachia. Fuck those people. They stink. They stink
No.
universally. So that's my point. Is like, but that's my opinion. So that's my point. Is like, you know what? Like, isn't that part of like again? That's what everyone wants. Everyone wants to think they're amazing. Everyone wants to
No,
think.
they don't.
Yes, they do. That's
No, they
that's it.
don't.
I mean, I don't know the full
Why are
context
you
of your.
Where are you getting that from?
I'm getting that from this Appalachia thing where I
What?
don't know the full context, but you're basically saying like you're not.
No,
Hold
no.
on, can I just goddamn finish?
You're totally misunderstanding.
Well, then you can respond when I'm done. You don't even know what the fuck I said. What are you responding to?
You're saying that you're just misunderstanding my point. I'm not saying
I
that
don't-
Appalachia people need to be defended. I'm saying you're probably not hiring sensitivity readers to read about Appalachia, and so
they shouldn't.
exactly the same way
Okay,
they
that's
shouldn't
my
hire
whole fucking
sensitivity.
point. Is that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to make a point about that would literally extend to all groups. That's what I'm trying to do. So my point is, I'm sure within the next 5 years, if this continues, the Appalachian people will want sensitivity trainers for their thing. And my point is, that's always the thing. Is like, you got it all wrong. We're a proud people, blah blah blah. And it's like, I've been to Appalachia. You guys stink. So if someone wrote a book that was like, yeah, these people fucking stink. And that was the whole point of like the fictional narrative is like, these Appalachian people are doing stinky Appalachian stuff. I'd be like, yeah, that, dude, if you're from Appalachia and you think you don't stink, write that book. But you're doing it from a selfish first person perspective. Like everyone thinks that the group they're a part of is like noble and without reproach and misrepresented. But it's like, but don't you think that a first person representation of your group bound to have misrepresentations in some way the other way? That's my whole point. That's the whole point, whether you talk about Appalachia or whatever. My whole point is like, if you're in the group, what member of a group is going to be like, yeah, we have problems? They're going to go like, no, you're being unfair. That's also a misrepresentation. It doesn't mean that the guy calling out problems or the writer calling out problems also isn't maybe misrepresenting because they're not in the group. But like, again, why do we throw out the bias of people in the group? It's going to come bias from both sides. So that's my whole point why it's stupid is because you're like, well, we're going to go ahead and give the bias to the group. But we are still, but like there's no admission that there's still clearly bias in it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You can talk. Do you not want to?
No, I guess just like if you're hiring sensitivity readers and you're saying that you want to better represent underrepresented populations in your books, don't fucking do it that way. Create a curriculum where you're training middle schoolers and high schoolers how to write like that. Because, their argument is that they don't have writers that they can...
But what's the solution?
That they can publish. So train them young and get them fucking
But
writing.
if you're a white female writer and you only write white female characters, you will get shit for not having characters in there.
It's no win.
And then if you add black female characters, they'll be like, well, you need to have a black woman read this or fuck you in your fucking face. So what's the answer? And that's the answer. The answer is whether it's coming from the right, the left, whether it's coming from feminism, religion, MRAs, who the fuck ever, they will not stop. That's what this is. That's why, and I will defend this briefly, and that's the last thing because we should move on. But like, I will not defend this. I will defend what I think people will try to defend about this, but this is not that, is what I want to make clear. And my point is, they're like, you're gonna get sensitivity trainers, and then you're gonna need sensitivity writers. There must be an epilogue written for each of these books that involves a race that the person is not a part of or a gender that the person is not a part of. Like, there will just be this constant like, now you need to do this. Now you can't write about this. Now you must write about this. Now you must hire this. Like, it's gonna keep going. Because that was the thing. It's like, you need characters in your book that are more diverse. All right, I'll do that. Well, if you're going to do that, you can't do that. You need some. And it's like, I mean, that isn't that what art is? I mean, I know there's art that is collaborative, like a movie or a play, but eh, but even people in those collaborative arts have jobs that they are solely responsible for, like an actor or director. I mean, isn't that what art is? Like again, like if a white woman writes about Muslim internment camps in some dystopian future, that's her vision of a fictitious hypothetical where that would happen. Why is that not fucking why is that not a thing we can have? Again, I mean if it's flawed, then that's what you take from it. That someone with that perspective would write that like this. That's something we know now. Like again, why is the I mean it's the Daily Show epidemic that your art needs to be perfect. It's like sometimes the art itself is a thing. Like that's the levels of art. It's like this book is a book about this. I'm enjoying it as a narrative story, but also like if I want to just if I if I like books or I like this author, I want to analyze something, like I can kind of look at it and be like, oh well, it's interesting that a white woman would make these choices in the writing of that book. That's like a second level, but it's like it doesn't make it wrong. It's just like another thing you can if art or literature is supposed to expand knowledge, well then it's still doing you can gain knowledge through analyzing flaws or potential bias. Why eliminate? I just don't understand why eliminate it. You can address it and learn from it. It's not about being right or wrong. It's just it is what it is. Nothing wants to be what it is. Everything wants to be right, but there is no absolute right. I don't know we're striving towards something that will never be attained, and we're losing so much on the path to it. It's fucking crazy.
Well, and that you need to have conversations to get to perfection, but perfection isn't even attainable. So we're eliminating even the chance for those kinds of conversations.
Well, the thing I'll say is like what I think they're trying to do, but they're very, very not doing. And the thing is like I can't believe these authors aren't doing what I'm about to say at some level and haven't been doing it for years. Like I have a female friend who's a comic who I think who's a very close friend of mine and who's very funny. And if I have a joke that involves like not like women, like saying like I'm talking about women, but if I'm talking about dating or sex or something, and there's like kind of like a female viewpoint to be considered, or like you're just considering like there's gonna be women in the audience listening. It's like how does it come across? Like I've run things by her and been like, how does that sound to you? But like the caveat is she's very funny, and so I'm coming to her as like a comic more than a woman, but a little bit a woman, but still a comic. And also, it's a like, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want, and I don't give a shit. But like, I value your opinion. And again, it's like I'm sure that these sensitivities have some background in writing or academia or whatever. I'm sure they're not just, at least for now, I'm sure they're not just someone off the street or someone that majored in sensitivity reading, because I don't think that's a program yet. But again, just to have a stranger forced on you that has this kind of definite hand over your creativity seems it's exactly what censorship is. It's like exactly, a standards and practices department that like NBC would have now at these publishing companies. That's all it's a standards and practices thing that uses and like the last thing I'll say is just like, and that's why when I go to my friend, I know it's funny first. But these sensitivity readers, they're not, that's what's kind of fucked up. Again, that's why what they're trying to do, you could argue it has merit in its roots, but the plant is forever flawed from the beginning. And I think the flaw is you're not getting a black woman to read a story about how black women should be represented. What you're doing, because she's getting paid by the book publisher and what the book publisher wants, she wants a black woman to read this book and know how the Twitter black universe will react to it and how they can sell the maximum amount of copies of this book. Like it's all business. Like she's that black woman that's a sensitivity reader. She's not giving her opinion as a learned human in society. She's giving her opinion of how to avoid outrage that would potentially hurt book sales. That's all it is. Do you understand the difference and how it's gross and not really
That's
what
what I
it's
said
supposed to be?
from the beginning. Yeah, that they're not. They're just covering the ass
So
of
that's
the
why
publisher.
it's just call it's PR. It's like an extension of your
Just
PR
call them
department.
sensitivity readers and move on. Okay, topic 2.
But I mean, they're just not. You know, like that's.
Sensitivity. Yeah, you
Oh,
missed my joke.
well, you gotta emphasize a
Mm.
pun.
Are you ready for topic 2?
Yeah, let's do topic 2.
All right.
All right, topic 2. So, Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, he has so he's like said a lot of stuff, um, kind of like throughout like the Trump campaign and then in his early kind of days as Attorney General. Basically, like stuff that's kind of like people have been kind of worried, but also has been kind of like mocked, just like him having that thing about like was his quote about like I thought the KKK was okay, and then I thought that they smoked joints, and I was like off board. Like he's just had this really deep anti marijuana rhetoric. You know, in a time when like
Mm-hmm.
it's exploding in legalization across the U.S. So I just think like it's just interesting that that's been happening for a while, and now it's come out that he is basically so there's been these Obama era kind of they're not I don't know politics is so fucking stupid. It's basically like Obama had these like memos. So it's not like not even an executive order, it's not a law, it's just these memos from Obama to the Justice Department that was essentially like hey, if a state has legalized weed or medical marijuana, we're going to go ahead and like we're not going to try to federally go after them. Even though as many people know,
The states regulate however they want.
right. But as most people know, like the US government like if you're in a state where weed's legal and you're carrying weed, an FBI agent could like arrest you because it's still technically federally legal. So you could still get prosecuted federally in any state even if it's legal. But again, during the Obama administration, well, at least towards the end of it, towards the beginning, it was actually kind of bad. But in the end of it, he was pretty much kind of saying, like, if states are cool with it, we're cool with it. We're not going to waste time or resources. But then Sessions has basically said that he's reversing that, and he kind of wants to possibly look into kind of like, I don't know, clamping down on recreational sales
He basically he
in states where
authorized
it's legal.
U.S. attorneys to prosecute however they want instead of letting the states. And it was sort of a hands-off federal approach.
And I guess I didn't know this, but I guess there is congressional precedent in that congressionally they have passed some sort of regulation that says that the U.S. government will not prosecute businesses that operate medicinally, but there is no such restriction on going after places that operate recreationally. So I don't know. It's just like we went to Denver and Nevada on our little road trip in December, both recreational weed states now, and there's I think 8 now. We live in Illinois. There's on the that there's enough political will that marijuana will be legal recreationally in Illinois. But no, now that you've been in like a legal state and seen how it operates, 2 legal states, like even more silly. Or do you agree with it? I guess there's always that chance, but I don't think you do. But
well, I mean, Sessions, this was clear. It was just a symbolic move, right? Like, there's no way these businesses are like, there's no stopping it now. It's happening, especially in the states where it's already legal. And I think okay, wait, look at these numbers. Colorado generated more than $226 million in state level taxes last year. California, which launched sales January 1st, could generate $300 million to $500 million in marijuana taxes this year. This
Illinois,
Sessions was just fucking like
Illinois needs fucking money real bad.
Yes.
And I mean, they've tried so many things from property tax raises, and then the big fucking kerfuffle was they did a soda tax, which I believe was a cent per ounce on soda, and that tax only stuck around for like a couple months, I think, and then they repealed it because people were so mad about it.
Yeah, even at Old Tony's, there's now a sign that "Hooray!"
The
This
soda
is not
tax is
in
gone.
effect anymore because they had signs like
Right.
tell your people like this is not okay.
Right. So basically, I heard even one Democratic gubernatorial candidate come out and basically say like all these kind of things we're trying to do, like property tax raises and soda taxes and all these other the fucking bag tax. Even though that's apparently supposed to be about fucking the environment, not revenue. We know it's about revenue. But the point is, all these fucking taxes. I mean, cigarettes in Illinois are taxed at 49.5%. Like, there's all these taxes that piss people off, and they're pretty much saying like we can raise way more money from marijuana taxing than we ever would have with a soda tax, and people would not give a shit. You know what I mean? Like people wouldn't care. They would just be so happy that marijuana is here, and also like I don't know. I think we're just used to society as like alcohol, tobacco, whatever. That's taxed. But when you start taxing like soda and plastic bags, it feels like you're coming from people just trying to like live their day. Whereas I feel like if you
I
wanted,
willingly pay 49% on cigarettes when I buy
because
them
you're
because
like,
I'm like, this is my choice.
it's a
It's my thing. It's
a
like a
vice.
thing.
A vice is like a treat,
It's affecting
right?
society beyond just me. Like I get it. That's
Yeah,
fine.
and you're like, so you're like, if I'm buying a $10 joint that costs me $14,
Not it is sugar is not I mean technically it's a vice because it's so addictive and like that's fucked up that we've created a community where like we eat so much sugar, but that is not it's not the same as
I,
alcohol or
I
tobacco
think
or
that's what's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because that's really the only thing that I thought was kind of
going
talk
after
about on
poor
this.
people.
Well, it was more no, I more mean the thing about following the money, like that initial thing you brought up, because like I do think that's kind of the issue at play here is like you could go at it socially, and I mean that's what's funny about Jeff Sessions is he's losing there. I mean he's losing socially. Like 64, I believe it was 64% of Americans nationwide believed it should be legal, and I believe in Cook County it's 74%. So I'm just saying, like like that battle is over socially already. It's all so he's losing that battle socially. But when you're talking about going to Denver and fucking with something that's generating $250 million for the state, like
Yeah, California's project 7 billion
those
recreational.
those
Just recreational.
governors and those state representatives, they will again, it's not like they give a fuck about us, but they will be like, you will not touch our fucking money.
That's when the state
Like
yeah,
we
they'll
will
defend
go
it.
to war over this because it's a money thing.
Yeah.
You know, like if they're coming after gay marriage or something, like you'll have people stand up to that because they believe in it or whatever, but it's not really generating money. It really is just quote unquote the right thing to, it's really a social movement. It's whether you think it's right or not to have gay marriage. But something like this, I mean, like again, like there's no party line on money. So Republicans, Democrats, everyone will get in line and tell Jeff Sessions to suck a cock because it's like you're not taking $500 million away from our state for something just because you think it's icky. So I think it's just funny how doomed to fail this is. I just think it's just so silly to me.
Well, I would think I mean they all kind of seem like idiots in there right now, but maybe he knows it's just a symbolic move and that nothing will really happen, but he felt like he needed to do something
And that's why
to
and I
show the party like, hey, I'm man, or
but
you
it's
know, not
again
the
it
party,
doesn't
but
even
his.
seem like but who?
No, come on, those Trump supporters don't want weed
I
passed.
don't think they care. He said
Are
when he
you
was
kidding? Those
campaigning.
Bible thumpers do not like
I just
pot.
don't think that's his base. I think in his campaign he said multiple times he thought it should
Sessions?
be a state issue. Trump.
Oh, well, Sessions is religious, so.
I know, but I'm just saying I don't think Trump supporters are generally
Mm.
religious. I don't think they give a shit. And like I said, to me, with 64% of the country on board, it's just like I think he's fighting for people that don't exist anymore.
It's just great. I'm just so pro legalization for taxes, for of our criminal justice system. This could do the people that you could free based on just it has been a nightmare in this country the way we have pursued people who have pot. And like honestly, like just medically it's better for you than the fucking criminals who are creating drugs for you in a lab and trying to get you I mean that's where our opioid epidemic is coming from. Like this is just all the way around. Like
I think
it seems so obvious that like I feel stupid just reiterating it because it's like how is this not legal?
I
Yeah.
know I'm never optimistic, but to me, this seems like a real, very
Possibility.
cultural moment that's a real final throw. Not even final throws, final throw that will ultimately, I think, probably lead to what we all kind of want. I think that if when Trump is out, or if he gets elected out in 3 or 2 years now, and we get a Democratic president and we get a Democratic Congress, even like I said, like a Republican Congress that's like, more libertarian. I think that what will happen will, I can see him, because a lot of business owners in that article I share with you were basically like, yeah, we don't give a shit. And I think they're that brazen because they realize, like, the state's got our back. We're making too much money for them. They know how much they pay to the government to run their business all the time, licensing fees, taxes, all that. They know that the government will come to bat for them. And I think honestly, you say it's kind of just like a moot move. I think they'll actually try to bust some places.
Really.
I think they will sue the federal government. I think they will win
And
because
then
they
it'll
will
all be
get state
legal all
support.
over.
And I think that if we get a progressive Congress, they will be like, this has gone far enough. We all remember that Sessions kerfuffle and that big lawsuit and that big mess. We're going to go ahead and just make it federally legal. Because we don't want, because it's getting out of hand, and we don't want something like this to happen again. And I think that's why Congress acted to say the federal government can't mess with medical places, because I think people threw up a kerfuffle when they did it, and they're like, all right, we'll just say that we're not going to do that anymore, and they kick the can. But I think the can has reached the end of the road, and they're just going to have to pass something just so they're like, all right, we don't want this becoming a big fight every time there's a change in fucking attorney. A bit to be cool, and now it's fucking, we're busting out doors with SWAT teams. We don't want it to go
Yeah.
back and forth. We just want it set, and we're
Because
just
you
gonna
wrote
like
in a
let it go.
memo that it's okay. Have you ever tried opening, like, when you get a new thing of peanut butter and, like, you try to get the little metallic-y top off and you
Mm-hmm.
can't get it and you're trying to be gentle and, like, get it, and you just get pissed off enough that you get a knife and you fucking puncture it and it's a mess and the knife is a mess and you made a mess, but then eventually you peel stuff off and you're in the peanut butter and it's
You know what I
delicious and
mean?
amazing. Trump is that knife. And we
Oh no,
had to,
Jackie's
like,
a
cop through.
Jackie's a Trump supporter now.
No, I think that people are. I think this, like we've talked about this a million times, but the silver lining of Donald Trump is that now we're talking about things, progressive ideas that have not been. We've been too gingerly trying to not tear off that lid, right? And,
Some of
like,
us are. There's still a gross resist army
yeah, but
that's like, can we all just be moderates?
I think that um,
Can we all?
but like marijuana is one. I think college, making education more free too, and extending that, and, like, seeing we can build alliances with these marginalized societies that voted for Trump. Like, there are alliances to be found here, and it's forcing us to see that marijuana is one of those peanut butter issues where, like, we're gonna get the good stuff soon, and it's gonna come faster because they have someone like Sessions who is gonna do that and then sue,
I
and then
mean,
we're gonna get the law
I
passed.
think it's just like gay marriage, and like, I mean, I think that's really. I mean, wouldn't you say in some way that it feels kind of like that's what happened? Is like, this state okayed it, this state okayed it, this state okayed it, and then every once in a while you'd have a state that was like, no, this is not okay, and then you have, hundreds of people suing. Two or three of those cases get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court and the federal government just see, like, dude,
We had to make a
if it's
decision.
illegal in 48 states, those two states where it's not legal are going to sue every year, and it's going to be in the Supreme Court every year, and we're just going to have to talk about this every year. No one, like, the public will is there. It's just like, again, with gay marriage, it was around like low 70s, I think, percentage of support. No one gives a shit anymore. Most of the states have it anyways. Let's just okay it so we can stop talking about it. I think that's going to be the marijuana thing, where the federal government just goes like, we're not fucking getting sued every other year because it's legal in 8 states, but the ones that it's not are going to just
Well, yeah,
fucking
and
be at our door
you're
every day being like, no, no, no.
talk about financial waste. Like,
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
All right, let's go to topic 3 and let's close this bitch out. That's
Okay,
you.
so topic 3. The president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. I, like, Googled how to say that and listened to
Nice.
the YouTube. He has
They have
set
a
a
video of just how to
surprising.
pronounce it.
Yeah, there's actually a whole service, Stammer Begon or something. I don't know. a YouTube channel where it's for pronunciation for
Mm.
immigrants to as you're learning English to try to or I mean probably people who have issues saying a word, right? Like I think it's a really cool fucking service. Again, something that
But this
you'll
is I don't get because he's just a name. Do you like type in the name and then it just has a video?
well, no, I having done this before with words, like I go how to pronounce Recep Tayyip Erdogan and then like click a thing and they
Nah,
but
I
this
just say
company has a lot
I
of
just say
them.
it ignorantly, and then if anyone says anything, I just
Yeah.
launch a racial slur at them.
So he has he's the president of Turkey, and
If you laugh at that, if you don't laugh at that, people think I actually do that. There you go.
he has set a surprising political fashion
That's
trend.
what he does.
So he donned a blue plaid jacket after voting for himself in the country's 2014 presidential election,
Tight.
and people took notice. In Turkish politics, where starch formality and dark suits are the norm, the jacket stood out. It looked about a size too large, and its loud pattern sat awkwardly on his 6-foot frame. So basically, it's just very garish blue plaid jacket, and it's since become a staple of this guy's wardrobe. Who, like, his rule is now considered a dictatorship. But so he's worn them at rallies while criticizing U.S. policy, uh, announcing his victory in a constitutional referendum, and his little lackeys have started wearing this like blue, like oversized.
They
blue
said it's become
plaid
like
suit.
almost like the uniform of his party.
Yeah.
But it's not like one plaid. It's just like generally plaid. It's not like
it's any kind of like printed plaid.
right. They don't like all. They're not all wearing like the exact same thing.
Yeah,
it's
like,
just plaid in general.
Yeah,
has become a thing. And like, did it say like citizens are wearing it too?
Yeah,
like it's just culturally
That's
become
like a
thing.
trend. Yeah.
Because
like
in a dictatorship,
it's just a surprise because like it's so well. It's probably like our politics.
in a
where it's very
dictatorship,
buttoned up
they're
and-
the makers. There's no like Justin Bieber's wearing like long T-shirts now, so that's the thing. It's like your dictators are the tastemakers, right? So if the dictator's wearing plaid, it's like okay, plaid is cool now. We'll wear plaid.
Yeah. So if you were a sultan and or dictator, what sartorial mainstay or accoutrement would you pick to make famous?
God, just the thought of that just excites me so much. To be a dictator of a nation, I'd make it so good. I'd be the best dictator ever.
No, you
I would
wouldn't.
be kind, but a little cruel. But just enough cruel. Just
you'd
enough.
Be, I hope
just
you
enough.
get sodomized in the street like Gaddafi. Like you have wished for people on this platform if you
He
become a
had
dictator.
a good run before that. As I was being sodomized, I'd be like, good run.
He wore some fly ass
Good
shit.
run. That guy was so
he was
insane.
so goofy.
Not just like insane. I was thinking of this Seinfeld episode where George was talking about it was like him and Jerry, and they were talking about how men used to all wear hats,
Yeah.
like back in the day, and he was like, "What a bald man's paradise," you know, because like everyone wore hats, and so that's what I was thinking about as someone that's going bald and transitioning into hats. I wish I just lived in a like hats everywhere, but not every day, and now I'll throw in like a non-baseball hat, but only every once in a while because it's like you don't want to just start wearing hats every day. Then people are like, "Are you just wearing hats every day now? Like, what's that?" And then so you just wear it every once in a while. And so you might even the first couple times you wear a hat get some shit for wearing a hat. Like, what is that? What's that? Wearing hats now? You look like insert insult. And then, but you do it. Then like the next time it happens, no one really says anything. Then you do it a couple weeks later. People are getting used to it. You're wearing a hat now. It's just a thing you do. And then you can just be in hats 80% of the time. And so as someone that's going
to break in your general public.
So even though I'm not bald now, but I'm thinning, and so I'm transitioning into hats before I go bald, so that if I do go more bald in a way that's unappealing, I can wear hats most of the time, and everyone will be like, "Yeah, that's just Justin. That's just Justin." It's not even that's Justin. He wears hats. It's just Justin. Oh yeah, I guess he does wear hats a lot, you know. But again, if I lived in a society where everyone wore hats. I would just spend my time getting cool hats and not worrying about like, is this hat too much because this is like my first hat? Is this like a hat I can maybe wear in 4 years once I'm a hat guy? You know?
Yeah, you don't even have to worry about
because I think like D.L. Hughley, he always wears hats.
Have a hat.
He always wears hats, and so I don't notice that his hats are crazy, even though they sometimes are crazy, because he wears hats all the time, so he can get a little more crazy because he's taking the time to transition into hats like a proper gentleman. So if we just lived in a hat society, I could just find the coolest hat and not have to worry about,
Dio
tempering.
Hughley looks so dope in
I don't
hats.
know, he has a good hat head. So I wouldn't have to go through that tempering period. I wouldn't. It's like I feel like if you wear a hat now, it's like the first thing people notice. For a while, like I feel eventually you can
Well,
just be a
every
hat guy,
feels
but like
costumey in some way.
in some
Unless
way
you're
because
rocking
not
it, unless
because
you're
not enough
owning it.
people wear hats anymore. It used to be such the norm to wear a hat.
But if you were a dictator, they wouldn't make fun of you.
That's true, because that would be one of the ways I'd be cruel. Do not make fun of what I'm wearing, or you go to the gulag. So yeah, I would do a hat society so I could wear cool hats.
We're hat people now.
We're hat people. It was ordained by Justin, the great leader, Justin the Great. Oh, it just sounds so goddamn good.
I would do floral prints. I think that would be my thing.
That's already hot. That was the hot of
Not
the last
in
season.
fucking politics, Justin.
Okay, I wore floral print ties to weddings last season.
Yeah,
and I was
but
looking
you
fly
are
as fuck.
No Sultan. Okay.
Yet, I'm
make
working on it.
I would make floral print fucking cool, and I'd be the first lady dictator, and I'd be like, ladies, you can embrace your femininity and be a strong, independent woman / nation.
Oh, you would get sodomized in the streets
And
so
then-
hard.
And then I hope it would extend to men, because I think men in floral prints are baller.
I was looking great this summer.
Even like a suit. You could wear like a suit in floral
too
and a
much,
hat.
too
You'd look
much,
so cool.
too
No,
much.
not in my society, Justin.
Ooh, I did show you those LeBrons that are like floral print though.
So cool.
They were pretty cool.
All right, you guys, tell us what you think. You can
I
tweet
don't
at
give a
us.
shit. Tweet at us, but not about what
I'm
you
at,
think.
at Jackie_Manty on
Just
Twitter.
tweet like you're great and handsome, but not what you think. I don't give a shit.
And you can find me at JackieManty.com and MildlyDepressed.com. And you can send me those tit pics at JackieManty.com.
Come on, send them tit.
Justin at
What's up?
Justin Golak on Twitter.
Yep.
Justin at JustinGolak.com for the dick pics, please. We are still waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And check us out, all of our content at lo-class.com. Do you have anything you want to plug?
JustinGolak.com. Show dates coming up January, and I think something in February. I don't know, but they're all there. I got some stuff coming up in Chicago in the winter, so check that out. And should definitely have some stuff coming up in the spring. So please stay tuned in to JustinGolak.com, lo-class.com. Plug the Patreon one more time while I pick up the phone so I can end the video feed as we log this off.
Patreon.com/LOClass, no dash. Then you become a supporter and you can check out all past episodes at FemComPod.com. We'll see you next week.
Bye.